Hi, it's us.
Hey.
It's Kevin, Andrew, and me, Billy
Ricky
Bilbo.
and Ricky.
And we have our new star, Ricky. We're officially back. It's our very, very official first episode of...
Cheers, gentlemen,
cheers,
for
cheers.
Season 2, guys.
Chin, chin, as you say.
Sláinte.
So we've been talking about some things, but first we have some little admin stuff to do. So if you want to, Kevin.
So yeah, welcome to the extended branch, our first episode of season 2. This is a podcast that's based on demystifying the fraternal aspects of Freemasonry, and any of the opinions that you hear on our podcast are our own our own opinions.
What's in that cup?
Wait a minute. And do not represent any Grand Lodge positions at all. So I'm going to apologize that I didn't practice that before we started.
First episode
But listen,
backwards.
so it is important because
Got to put the lube on the old machinery here.
Yeah. So we want to talk about stuff that is important for us, and we hope it is important to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it is important to know that this is our podcast, and we're very proud Freemasons, and we want to share what our opinions are.
Yeah, it really does boil down to the individual experience overall, just like most other things in life. But even here in Freemasonry, there is the grand design by each jurisdiction's Grand Lodge, but there's also the more microcosm of that, going down to the lodge level and then to the individual level. And some of the things that we spoke about during our little break were more esoteric topics and topics that could be considered divisive in the lodge or even in just regular life, such as politics or one's idea of deity and religion in general.
Right, because unless you've been asleep for the past 16 months, the world's been a little weird and everything.
We've got the divisive thing covered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So this is we're Masonic Band-Aid.
As they say, we need to spread the cement of harmony
and brotherly love.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
So, also, I'd like to say thank you for everyone who has watched up to this point. For those of you who've made it here, or even those who are just starting with us now, thank you so much for listening to us ramble on inconsistently.
Yes, we try our best to stay on topic, but as with most podcasts that you hear out there, unless they're story-driven, you're going to have intersecting parts, and it's going to jump all over the place.
Yeah, things happen. If you're new here, we have a little bit of a structure. I am kind of a games guy. I like to play games with these two. Kevin has games too, and I love Kevin's games more than mine. But
I got games for you.
Awesome. But this year, this season, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I have a few games that I've been working on, and one that I'm particularly excited about is something I call Trivium Pursuit. And it all stems from our conversations from last year.
Wait, not Trivial Pursuit.
No, A-L-I-U-M.
Show it off, Billy.
Trivium.
The Trivium.
That's
Pursuit.
Right.
So basically what this is I'm going to read to you a little bit of an excerpt from one of the entries into the Trivium.
Uh-huh.
So from what I read, it's up to you two to glean what the actual topic is.
Okay.
That's going to be intensely difficult.
Yeah.
So if you need to pause the episode right now and you have no idea what we're talking about, go back, look through our episodes, and we did a fairly cursory job of explaining the trivium versus the quadrivium.
Yes.
And we will not be speaking about anything. There's no trick quadrivium questions dropped in the middle of this, right, William?
No.
Okay.
No trick quadrivium.
Okay.
No, it's
So
in
this
here.
is just
It's
the
in here,
trivium.
but I'm not. Nope, I stayed away.
That's
So
you have a good time now.
So also,
All right.
if you're new, thank you again, welcome. So the Trivium is a book that goes into basically the more esoteric or liberal arts of three specific things, which are grammar, logic, and rhetoric. So these are very, very broad topics, and it tries to...
necessary.
Yes, absolutely. We all use all three of these things in daily life. We're using it now, and...
I'm not. Because I'm sitting here and I'm not talking.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
So all right,
Fair
to kind of simplify what Billy's saying, the trivium and the quadrivium were the classic liberal arts and sciences that one would study to become a learned individual back in the hell all the way up to like the Enlightenment, really.
Right. So something that always comes to mind for me right now is this idea of the way that we are speaking to each other, the way that we in particular, and this is this humble Mason's opinion, that we don't lead with kindness and understanding sometimes, and it's very easy to go, no, you're wrong, right? And just skip the part of hearing somebody's position.
Civility.
The civil part of civil discourse. We got the discourse again. That part's down, but people actually study this stuff very carefully.
Oh yes.
And we can get way into the weeds, as I'm sure Billy's going to do, with clauses and commas and all kinds of things. But we have an obligation, as hopefully we will convince you of this, to extend that further. So that we understand each other, so that we can base this brotherhood on something that is meaningful, right? Understanding rather than just something that says, oh, well, I'm over here and that's the line in the sand and you're over there.
No. Never be afraid to look into the gray area.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Pull your head out of that sand.
Yep. All right, gentlemen, are we ready?
As much as I can
for,
be.
For the first iteration of
Trivium Pursuit.
Trivium Pursuit.
Yes,
Okay, here it is.
All right, here we go. All right, here is our first one. This principle applies not only to the style of your speech, but also to your style as a speaker. Gestures, stance, facial expression, clothing, and language can exhibit this or not.
Oh, man.
And I have one more little thing, if you guys need it.
Can you go through the list of things?
Yeah.
Go through the list.
Gestures, stance, facial expression, clothing, and language.
Have a guess?
Sure.
Decorum?
Oh, are you looking?
No.
No, but you got it. Absolutely.
I did this for season 1 too. I pulled that out
Wait
of
a
my
minute.
ass.
Wait. What's the answer?
Decorum.
Decorum.
Yep. So
The theater aspect of rhetoric.
Well, I'm the first person who learned something today.
Well, here we go. So
I'm not prepared for this.
a little bit more of this. I'm going to read a little bit more.
Sure.
After
Yeah.
you guys
Go
answer.
ahead.
When Queen Victoria complained that Gladstone spoke to her as if she were a public meeting, she was accusing her prime minister of a failure of decorum. But it would have been just as much a failing if he had addressed a public meeting in a matter fit for private conversation. So that's one of the instances in which
You have to understand your audience.
yes. Know the room. Read the room, basically.
Okay.
Read the room. So
All right.
that's our takeaway from decorum,
Okay.
All right. So because it is in fact a trivium, I have 3.
That's beautiful.
I have 3.
I see what you did there.
Yep.
That's
All right. So this is a good one. So this is actually might be a little bit tough, but let's see. All right. This is going to be a problem I'll present to you. The most stylish and rhetorically effective method of dealing with this is to counter or rebuke it. Ideally, this should be done with a new one of these, constructed with the same premise as the old one, but with a new one and opposite conclusion. A good example is the ancient Greek story of the mother who begs her son not to enter politics.
That's almost like a straw man argument, but I know it's not. I wouldn't know the technical term for that.
I mean, I'm just gonna throw something out. Is it a thesis?
No.
No.
Because you're taking the question, reforming it to try and get a different answer out of it.
Right.
Okay. Is it not? You said thesis. It's not synopsis.
No. All right.
Okay.
Let me give you a little bit more. I'm going to
Okay.
give you the problem. This goes back. This is continuing with the Greek story of the mother who begged her son not to enter politics. If you enter politics, you either act justly or unjustly. If you act unjustly, the gods will hate you. But if you act justly, men will hate you. Entering politics guarantees that you will be hated. So what is that?
That's a dichotomy, a false dichotomy.
Is it
You're very close.
a logical fallacy?
No,
No?
that's the truth, though. That is, I mean, in their mind, with their faith structure, the gods would hate them if they chose men over the gods. I mean, that's just a fact. The Greek gods were horrible.
Well, yes, we all. If you haven't noticed by
Do
now,
not turn on them ever, never, never. Especially if they've blessed you.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I give up.
A dilemma.
Oh,
A simple word like that, just
simple
dilemma.
right? That's what this.
Okay.
That's what this
That's
book does to you.
fantastic.
It's just a dilemma. He just has it. Like, do I choose the gods? Do I choose man? It's just a dilemma,
that's okay. Great.
right?
That's
All right.
very cool.
And then one more. I like this one.
I'm not ready for this game.
No, neither am I.
I-
I need to go back to this book.
I gotta crack a book, man.
See, this is
Oh,
your
just
fault.
It is.
Both
It is.
of yours.
It
It's
is.
just a podcast game. Like, this is easy. This
No,
is, you
no,
know.
he's bringing in the heavy hitters over here.
Yeah, no. this
God,
is
as soon as
like-
he cracked that spine, I knew we were in trouble.
Okay, are you ready?
Shoot.
When animals sense a threat, they become alert and ready. Similarly, when faced by danger, humans will either run away, freeze, hold ground, or attack. However, human reflective power adds a layer of complexity.
That's fight or flight.
Yep.
But there's a name for it.
That's what I said. Oh yeah. There sure is.
I'm no.
And not that it's going to give it away, but I'd like to say that we have all, I would say, as a brotherhood in general, we all have displayed this prior to joining as Masons.
Okay. Read it one more time.
Cognitive dissonance?
Yes. No.
Like, well.
Okay, you want the whole thing again?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you would.
When animals sense a threat, they become alert and ready.
Uh-huh.
Similarly, when faced by danger, humans will either run away, freeze, hold ground, or attack. However, human reflective power adds a layer of complexity.
It's not confirmation bias?
No.
Okay. Human reflective power
Mm-hmm.
adds a
Layer of complexity.
layer of complexity to
Yeah.
the fight or flight response.
Mm-hmm.
I got no. I mean, the only thing that's in my mind is it's a reflex action.
It's a reaction.
But that's what you're describing, right?
It's not a reflex. Yeah, nope.
It's not.
It's what you make of the reflex. Does that make sense?
It's not reaction.
Yeah.
It's not. It's what you make of the reaction.
I mean, this is going to be like the dilemma thing. You're going to say this, and I'm going to be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
that's
I'm
what it
gonna.
is.
Yeah. Tell me what the simple word is that
What-
we're.
You don't want the. You
I
don't
have
want
no
another
idea
little
what it
clue.
is.
You
No,
just
just
wanna
just
go
go.
for it?
Just go.
Courage.
Oh, man.
Really?
Yep. So let me go. Rather than this is in regards to the human reflective power adding complexity, because we as humans add a whole millions of layers to the
Because we
word
overthink
courage.
things.
Courage could be flying and jumping out of a plane, or courage could be standing in front of a doorstep waiting for someone to come out. You know, that's
Uh-huh.
so. And in regards to courage and what I said about the brotherhood, we all had to display a minute, even if it was depending on your level of social
Awkwardness.
comfortableness. Yeah, a little bit of courage to ask.
No, you're right.
Can
Absolutely.
I become one? You know, that's the whole thing with us is you have to ask, not that I'm rolling my eyes, but you have to ask to become one. You have to come to a lodge and you have to ask.
It's a
Mason to
tired
become
phrase,
one.
but it's
Yeah,
still true.
But it's true. You just, and it's not like, oh, you have to know. You just have to say, oh, how? And then
Right.
that's how it happens. And
Right.
you have to have the courage to come up to one of these guys and say, hey, how do I do this?
Absolutely.
You know?
Okay, so we have courage, we have dilemma,
Dilemma.
And decorum.
and
decorum.
decorum.
Yeah.
These are words that I know now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is.
Words that you thought you knew before.
Well, I have something to go read now, don't
Yeah.
I?
Mm.
Yep. So,
I don't like this game, William.
oh, you're welcome. well,
This is, I think of all the games, this is the one that feels like it has the most homework.
Yeah, for him
Just-
too.
yeah.
For him too, but at least he's got the book in front
This
of
is
him.
great. This is season 2. We're up in the odds.
yeah.
for
Well,
everything.
and you know what? It's your fault. I mean, you came in with the before and after last season.
He's gonna go get Esoterica now,
Okay,
and now we're
I'm
screwed.
sorry. No. There will be no retaliation.
We can keep the
This is a
keep
family
the level.
podcast. I'll be like, okay, question 1 going to Mr. Bilbo.
Right. So
Cool, man.
So courage was the last thing we spoke about, and there's a lot of courage that we in today's world, and the three of us and even our families, we deal with. We don't even realize that we're having courage to do things. Like sometimes it takes courage just to get up and put your socks on.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. And I'm being serious. And one of the things that we as Masons don't really have too much courage about is religion. Like, people like to ask us, is Freemasonry a religion? And we vehemently deny, no, it's not a religion. And it is. It's true.
It's not. We're not.
It's not a religion. But we do have aspects of religion in our fraternity.
Right.
Absolutely.
So here's my question for you guys, because I'm Billy Bilbo and I have questions.
Oh, here it is.
We all
There
know.
it is.
What do you think? Is Freemasonry a religion? Are we religious?
Mind if I go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
absolutely.
We are not religious. We are spiritual.
Okay. All right. Tell me about that.
I personally separate those two terms.
Okay.
Religious, to me,
Mhm.
is someone or something that deals with a specific version of deity.
Okay.
Say like the Abrahamic religions, or Buddhism, or
Christianity,
something. Well, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
something that
obviously.
has an ism
Yeah,
at the end
yeah,
of it is
yeah.
religious. They have their own scripture, their own way to practice that
Right.
that version. Their rituals, their thing like that.
Let me stop right now because it's starting to sound a lot like what we do.
And here's the thing. They have their version of it, and they have their specific version of deity.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
We, as Freemasons, keep that open to all individuals to take our rituals and our practices and apply it to theirs. We're supplementing.
Okay. So would you say where each one
Billy is
separate
playing devil's advocate
Each-
completely.
each
Well,
one?
so let's do this. Let me
All
throw
right. Sorry.
something in
Yeah,
there.
I got a question. But go
Okay,
ahead.
so I like what you said. I'm going to try and ignore it. Right?
How much like
No,
Kevin?
the only reason is because I want there to be kind of 3 perspectives.
All right.
Aware of each other, but like we're not there yet.
Mhm.
So like,
No Cosmos.
is it is it religious? I'm going to say no,
Mhm.
just empirically. But what I will say is there are many aspects of what we do here on a regular basis that would seem dogmatic,
Yes.
right? Which
I'd
is,
agree.
you need to complete this first and come to an understanding. After you complete this and you go here, then you will come to that understanding. And then so on and so on. And then as you go through and you take those initial experiences, you can then apply them to things that will arise in your life as a Freemason.
Mhm.
And I think that pursuit in itself, you wouldn't point to it and say that that's religious, but you would say that it's sort of informed. We were just talking about somebody just gave a presentation in our lodge that was talking about you cannot put the genie back in the bottle.
No.
When you've
No,
been
no, no.
given this new sort of expectation of you, let's just say that's what it is. Even as an entered apprentice, right? Not just for the Master Masons, but even as an entered apprentice, you are made new in a
Yeah.
sense. And by me saying that, a whole bunch of people will be like, you can't say that. Like this isn't a religion. No, but you kind
It's
of
true.
It's called
No,
the
you
initiatic
absolutely.
you
experience.
can't unknow something. So that's
Yeah.
go ahead, Billy. Like
All right.
that's just what I wanted to enter
So,
at this point of the
To
conversation.
go back to, and I have questions for you now, Kevin. So to go back to what Andrew said. So you would say that every religion has their own ritual that they do, and that they all go to the one person. Where you would wager to say that we combine all of the religions into one thing, and then that actually would go toward what we believe. Is that we're the combination of all things. The difference is that we have a standardized ritual that even if you believe even if you have a different faith, we believe in a teaching that helps us understand what other people are thinking.
It's a very general.
In a weird
So
roundabout way.
yeah. So my perspective of it is that what we do here in Lodge, like Billy said, we have our rituals, and that word ritual comes across as very scary sometimes because you hear that word and you're like, oh, they're cults and things like that. It's not. You get up.
Some of us go, oh, cool, a cult.
Yeah. Sign me up.
It's not as culty. Yeah.
But you think of that word ritual, and like when you get up in the morning, what do? You go, you make your coffee, you brush your teeth.
It's true. Your
whatever.
morning ritual.
That is
have
a
your
morning.
Coffee.
That is a ritual, a morning ritual. You wake up at 6:30 in the morning. You got to get your, you got to take a shower. You got to go to work. That unfortunately is a ritual.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
You have to take the scary aspect, the negative connotation away from some of these words.
Okay.
When it comes to our version of the ritual that goes on upstairs, there are so many different aspects to it that you can apply it from Catholicism, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, and just philosophic thought in general, that each individual in that room will go, oh, I saw that in church, oh, I saw that in temple, or I saw that in synagogue, or wherever, and you're not wrong.
Right.
No one's wrong, because they have their own experience with that specific thing, and it connects to them differently, even though it is a very general, almost bare bones experience.
Yeah. So, okay.
No.
So, are you good?
No, I'm good right now.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
all right.
I'm a loud New Jersey Italian.
Breathe.
Okay.
Don't knock my.
All right. So, one of the coolest things that I ever did was in college I took a class called Sociology of Religion.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It was fantastic, and it was great. But it was an upper level sociology class that me, as a music education major, I needed to get permission to be in the class. So I got in the class.
Oh, wow.
And it was everything that you might imagine the title of that course would be.
Okay.
It was a tremendous professor. It was a very small group. There were maybe 10 or 12 of us. And
that's an intense class.
And
then.
still to this day, I do not know what the own personal religion of the professor was. He did such a great job of explaining all of the world's many religions, right? But what we were looking at were the behaviors of each.
Okay.
And things that, here's the dogma of that religion, and here's what the practitioners do on a human level. Like, and as flawed as we are, like every religion is going to say, well, it appeals to the highest nature of us. Great, yes. And I think any Freemason would say that's the point of religion. When you point at something, unless you're it's the I don't want to hate on anybody, but like something that's just completely fabricated.
Yeah.
But like it appeals to the higher angels of our nature, to use a paraphrase term, right?
Yeah.
So you've got that, but then what we do that some people would say is far too similar to these many world religions is that we have an exemplar that we point to and we say, because of these things, we glean these lessons. Now, if you want to know what those lessons are, you should join Freemasonry. We're not going to go into those right now.
That's not
for
today.
But here is now the gray area, which is we've chosen an exemplar. We have a list of lessons that we hope for all of our members to spend the rest of their natural lives trying to pursue, right? And we do admonish our members to say that we believe in the phrase, we're making good men better. Right?
Yes.
So I don't know, like that's one of the reasons that you get on here and you do a podcast is that you're taking all these, so well, it's a religion. Yeah, but it's not. It's a fraternity. Like so what we're saying in that sense is like, okay, can a fraternity get close to this issue without crossing that line? And I will tell you, for as somebody who I very humbly I enjoy my religion. I try to aspire to it in as many ways as I can divine in the course of a day. Freemasonry registers in my mind as being different and being a part of, but supplementary to, and I think
Yes.
that's the word that's really important.
It's that whole idea of like when you're building a bridge, you can't just have straight structures. You have to have structures that support those and counterbalance all the weight that
Yeah.
bridge is now going to have to support in and of itself.
Right.
It's that idea that the individual has their own beliefs, and all we're trying to do is make those beliefs stand the test of time, I guess you'd say, or just support those beliefs in a way that the individual can better themselves. That's one of the reasons why we say that we don't allow atheists, because atheism is that belief that the individual is itself, and there is nothing greater than
Right.
itself.
Right.
So, and again, nothing against atheists, because there are some atheists that I've met through various social medias that are amazing people and are articulate and intelligent. But a general overarching term is you get those edgelords out there that do it for no other reason than to tear others down. And that's not what we're about. We're trying to bring people up.
All right.
Okay.
Just one thing. So,
Excuse me.
so everything the both of you have said, I got to be honest. It does make it sound like it's religious, but not a religion. So
This is going to be a long episode.
It's doing this.
yeah. So let me, from my perspective, because I've heard your two perspectives, and I know I ask the questions, but let me just, as someone who was raised Roman Catholic, and I was very religious growing up, and as I got older, my views of religion and the church changed and things like that. And I have to say that looking at this place, knowing both sides of my mind when it comes to religion, and I know I try to follow the golden rule is one of the things that I bring about, and I think about some of the things that I learned from Catholic school and stuff like that, and Kevin said it's right. This place, there is a separation between that religion and a fraternity, but I do believe that the goal is, in theory, the same for both. So as Freemasonry and as Freemasons, we, Andrew said, we like to say that line to make good men better. The only difference about a religion is that they don't outright say that, but that is literally what they're trying to do.
They're hoping to.
So
Yes.
all of religion, in my perspective, comes from a part of human nature knowing that if we're left to our own devices, the choices we'll probably make aren't the choices that are laid out. Most people will, and I don't like to generalize like this, but most people will do what is best for them because they know
Selfishness,
it's
yeah.
survival. And
Yeah.
even if it's not survival in our eyes, it's survival in their eyes, and that's what we'll do. But we have a basis of morals that were laid out by people who took the time to think about things like the trivium, men like Socrates and Plato who started thinking about society as a whole, developed the system of socialism. Like you said, you took the religious socialism class, and that really sociology. Sociology. I apologize.
It's a whole different thing,
And
man.
that really struck a chord with me because I'm sorry. I apologize. I misspeak.
No, that was fun. That was good.
And that struck a chord with me because what people do, what a person does fascinates me, but what people do amazes me. Especially when it comes to a belief structure, a faith, something built.
It's tribal nature.
Yes. But it's something like, so you can bring it back to the sun. So you can understand why the nomads would travel against the sun in the desert, because they're trying to get away from the thing that's burning them, but they know they need it. So they don't move fast. They just move fast enough so that it doesn't. But they give respect to this deity that they see in the sky. They know that it can burn them, but they also know that it can help them survive. So it's the same kind of thing. In religion, and again, Roman Catholic, coming from that, that God will burn you. That according to our section of the Bible, there are multiple instances in which God
got angry
yeah,
and said,
God
"Nope,
has
fuck you
taken his
guys."
vengeance. So, and that's a whole separate thing. We can talk about that. But that is the kind of thing that has led people to make certain decisions. A story like that, based in the Bible, has led people to make certain decisions that have affected their lives and even their children, and essentially a minor
Generations.
part of a culture. Yeah. And
so I want to play off where you're going with this.
Okay.
And it kind of also ties back to my statement about atheism.
Mm-hmm.
The religious people of today, broad net, all of them, seem to have taken their faith and are now using it to vilify other people. And that's not the way that a religion or a system of belief is supposed to be used. Hence, in my mind, the rise of this more philosophic atheism, this non-theistic atheism, to combat the negative individuals out there that are using their faith as a weapon.
All right. I just have, so on that, you can't, so I don't think it's their faith that they're using. I think it's the church, honestly. And I know that's a very strong thing to say, but if you look at a lot of other religions, so you can look at Buddhism, right? And you can look at what the Chinese government is doing to Taiwan. Like, is that because they're Buddhist? Probably. You can look at Catholicism.
No, please.
You can look at
that's an episode for a different podcast.
You can look at all of them,
yeah.
honestly, and you can say, is it the faith, or is it the
no? It's the individual.
Is it the structure and the way that it's being presented?
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying is that that is the way it's being, and that's what caused this rise of a more philosophic atheism, where they're trying to remove themselves from these supposed hateful ideologies.
Well, all right, so basically what I'm trying to say is don't blame faith, because faith is not necessarily the problem. Because faith can be as helpful as it can harmful. Because faith, in my mind, is hope. And to turn someone's hope into evil is not really great.
No.
You know? But that's what I'm saying. It's like you can't...
His lip is quivering. I know he wants to say something.
No, go ahead.
No, this is all great. So I want to go back to originally, like, pulling it back for a second to Freemasonry in a sense of, like, how Freemasonry was founded, right? It's the same way that science was founded and the Renaissance was founded.
Absolutely.
These were men of faith that were also men of science.
Yes. Right?
So imagine for a second, and you have to stretch yourself with a 21st century mentality, right? For all the many shoulders that we stand on, right? To go back to the 1600s and the 1700s, where this Renaissance was literally taking over the world in the best sense of the term, in art and music, in science, in literature, everything. These people embraced the fact that this is a human achievement inspired by the divine. And atheism is something that is a natural byproduct of wrestling with that creativity for many hundreds of years.
Should this be faith?
So
should it not be?
It is. Now, I'm not disparaging atheism.
No, and that's not what this is about.
Absolutely not.
So, but what I'm saying is, Freemasonry was formed by people that were men of science and men of faith.
Yes.
People that were men of laws of God and laws of man. Right. So all of these things, and Freemasonry, if you don't know this yet, you got to get right with this. Freemasonry was something that wanted to drive down the middle of the road on all of these things.
Absolutely.
Which is why we still, and to our credit, we do not discuss politics and religion upstairs, right? Because these are things that can be divisive, right? There are things about these subjects where people have deeply held beliefs, and in order for us to maintain the most fraternal environment, we avoid them when we are in lodge. It does not mean that we avoid them when we are speaking with our brethren.
Yes.
All right? So that's the first thing that I wanted to say. The second thing that I wanted to say is we have a few different things that do skirt the type of religious experience that someone will say, well, that should be reserved for a church or a temple or what have you, that we do here. So I want to talk about those. So the first thing is a representation, right? So something important, if you're not a Freemason, we want you to know this after hearing this episode. If you are a Freemason, hopefully this just kind of underlines the point. Every Freemason should be represented upon the altar upstairs with their own volume of sacred law.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
So that is, as you might imagine, that is a Bible, that is a Quran, that is a Torah, right? That is whatever your particular governing document is, as a member, will be placed upon that altar anytime that you see fit. Period. End of story. That's it. It's about acceptance. It's about equality. It's about the best type of equality, that it starts in the center of all of our dealings.
Yeah.
Right. So and that brings up another point where, you look at all these religions, they're all appealing to this, again, this sense of this higher sense of the divine in every one of us, which are, again, the angels of our better nature. So if we are starting with love, right? If we start with love and we go out from the center and we go out from the center on all of these other things, but we keep returning to this idea of love. If we're doing this idea of brotherhood well, it looks a lot like love, right? And that should be central. We hope that is central to as many people as possible, right? To cement a more firmer sense of brotherhood among our members. So that's the other thing that I wanted to say. I made a list. So now I want to go back to the first word that you used, which is the word spirituality.
Yes.
Okay. So I heard, and I apologize, and I hope people, like, when this goes out, if you can fill this in, this would be great. It's a paraphrase of a quote from somebody that I do not recall who it is. Right? The difference between spirituality and religion, right? Spirituality is something that is given from above.
Right.
Right.
Oh yes,
Something
yes. All right, I know this
we
quote.
Feel this.
Yes.
That we feel this as rain coming down the mountain, right? And religion is man's response trying to collect all that water and pump it back up the mountain.
It's the plumbing,
right? So that's not what we do here.
No.
That is not. That is.
We try to keep the mountain pure.
Fundamentally, not what we do here. We would prefer to accept whatever spirituality is brought to the lodge by our members.
So
and to more clearly underline a sense of brotherhood by people who are informed of what their religion may or may not expect of them. Right. So then the second thing, and this is the thing that quickly becomes Masonic, right? And I don't know. I hope you like this, but we might be able to spend a minute on this. All right, is a term called religiosity.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Explain.
All right. So religiosity. Here's the fundamental idea behind religiosity. Who is more religious? The person who never comes to church and lives a good, pious life, versus the person who is in church all the time and is just a terrible person, right? It's just every time you should turn right, you go left. But the dogma, the thing, like what?
Right out of it.
But that tears open the argument of what's the difference between spirituality and religion. Religion is a construction of man. It is. So who is more religious, right? Is it the Mason who comes to lodge all the time,
right?
And you're like, oh, that guy,
but he's awful,
right? Or the guy that can't get to lodge except once or twice a year,
Right.
and you know.
And you can't
He's
wait to
out there doing
Yeah, you
the
can't
work.
wait to see him.
sit down
You
with
can't
him
wait to
and
see
have
him
a
again.
conversation.
We have a
Yes.
number of
Right.
people in our lodge, and I'm sure you do too. If you're in a lodge that you're proud of, we have people who are astounding men.
Yes.
Astounding
We,
people
that we
who
don't
are
see that
out in the
often.
We
community.
miss you if you're watching.
People who will be the last word of charity, who will be the last word of civic empowerment, or the last word of running their own business. And maybe they can't get here, but it doesn't make them any less amazing. So that's all the stuff that I wrote on my phone. So I'm gonna put my phone down.
That's Kevin's list.
So that's my stuff.
That's his story, and he is sticking to it. Yeah. That was
What about you?
religiosity. That's a term I've never heard before, but it makes perfect. Absolutely, I'm pretty sure there's some parable in the Bible.
Masonicity.
Masonicity.
Masonicism.
Yes.
Masonicism.
Masonicism.
That's it.
I got it.
Coin it.
Another ism is born.
Yes.
We did it.
Put that in. That's a new AMD group, and we're starting it now.
All right, so I think I got an answer to my question. So Kevin kind of broke it down, and with the help of Andrew, the reason we're not a religion is because we do as much work to not be a religion as we do to be a religion. So basically, Kevin said we walk down the middle of the line.
Mm-hmm.
So if we walk down the middle of the line, we got to have both sides.
Yeah.
And that's why it intertwines, because you got to have both sides. And like I said in the beginning, you can't be afraid to go into the gray area. I mean, the gray area is where all the interesting stuff is. You know, the best questions, the best answers, that's where they are. I mean,
you can't be too extreme.
you may not get the answer you want, or even an answer you like.
Yeah, that's the answer you like.
But it's still the answer. I mean,
Right, because our answer would be, this is how religious we kind of do get.
Yeah.
What's the Masonic thing to do?
yeah, well, yeah. What would
That's it.
What would
Like,
a Mason do? WWAM. Yeah, WWAMD. What would a Mason do?
Right.
You know, and yeah. So thanks, guys. I mean, that was pretty good. So basically, it's gray. You know, stay gray.
So
Stay gray.
something else that I do
We're
want to
gray
say,
Jedis.
because in preparing for this, I did look up, like, we're in the Grand Lodge or Grand Jurisdiction of New Jersey. I looked up what's on our petition, which is, for people to join.
Right. Yes.
It is not, and this is my mistake. It is not. The language is not. Do you believe in the immortality of the soul?
No, it's a supreme being.
It's. Do you have a belief in a supreme being? And I'm going to own that, and that's for me to sort of to wrestle with.
To support you, that changes per jurisdiction.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Texas, that part of their petition does include the verbiage immortality of the soul.
We look forward to your letters.
Yeah,
We do.
Please.
We
Oh,
do. And
speaking of
that,
which,
yes.
great segue, Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
So actually, one of the things that we have planned for season 2, since we're kicking this off, is, if you didn't know, the three of us are on TikTok, but I have made it an absolute mission of mine to engage myself with not only the profane and those who may be asking questions, but also the trolls and those who accuse us of the various satanic nonsense.
And he's doing a great job, by
Thank
the
you.
way. Great job.
Bang up job.
And through these actions, I have met brothers from not only the United States, but all over the world. And we are going to try our damnedest for this show to get some of these brothers on here for our second season.
Please.
So you can see the diversity, not only within the world, but also just within our fraternity and the kind of men that we attract. So I hope, and I myself look forward to this new season. Billy, your final thoughts for this episode?
I just want to say thank you. It helped me a little bit understand what's going on in the world. I love that I stumped all three of you again. It's been a long time since I stumped you guys with all three of them.
We'll unpack it in post-production.
And
We'll see who stumped who.
so as far as questions for us, there's a few ways you can get us. We're on YouTube. You can mention it in the comment section down below. Also, we have an email. We got BBQs. It's WEGOTBBQS@gmail.com. You can send questions there, and we'll answer you there. And hopefully, we'll get enough questions. We can answer some of them for you guys on the podcast. I think that's really all I have on my side. Andrew's TikTok, if he wants to tell you.
Yeah, my TikTok, as with most of my social medias, is @metal_Drew. If you can't find our YouTube or the email, you can always send me a direct message, and I'll bring it up to these guys, or stitch or duet one of the TikToks. And if I can't answer it, I'll pass it off to one of these fools next to me,
and we'll get it to you.
Yeah,
we
will find an answer for you.
I'm just happy to be here. We hope you enjoy these episodes, and honestly, it's something that we're so happy to talk about on a regular basis. So, first of all, thank you for your support. Thank you for telling people about this.
Yeah, please.
And if there's anything that you'd like us to talk about, we're really happy to do it, because we know you love this fraternity, and so do we.
And for those who aren't members, we hope that we're extending the branch to you and helping you understand what it is to be a member. But with that being said, for Brother Kevin Cotter, Brother Billy Bilbo, I am worshipful brother Andrew Sotelo,
and Ricky.
This has been another edition of